The military did use a lot of products that contain asbestos, but unfortunately the military didn't always know how many of the products that they were purchasing from various manufacturers contained asbestos, and more importantly, they didn't know how dangerous asbestos was. And that's largely because the asbestos manufacturers weren't revealing stuff that they were finding out. It was the companies that were providing these products to the military and saying that they were safe, that they were protective gear, that they were good for this, and that the products themselves were wonderful, wonderful miracle products that would keep everybody safe, and it just wasn't the case. Navy vessels, for example, were using asbestos for so many things: insulation, soundproofing, fireproofing, throughout most of the vessels that were produced from the 1930s into the 1980s. Aircraft that were used by all of the branches had asbestos products in heat shields and insulation. Mechanics in all the different branches would have been exposed to asbestos in many of the products that they used, especially brake linings. So there are a lot of situations where just the vehicles themselves that military personnel used were contaminated with asbestos, or were quite frankly made with asbestos because of its properties for, insulation and fireproofing. Another reason veterans are so exposed to asbestos is because so many of the buildings that were produced from the 1930s to the 1980s contained asbestos in insulation, fireproofing, soundproofing. People who were involved in the construction of those buildings, and sometimes even people who were just living in those buildings, could have been exposed to asbestos as those asbestos fibers were broken apart and those fibers were released into the air. It could have affected a lot of people in those circumstances as well.